Hello, everyone. We are here at the COP30, and today I have the privilege to talk with Marijke from Netherlands. Right? One of the aspects that we have in our calls is the importance of just transition. How can we make this idea, I would say, of just transition something that is actually feasible and accepted by, especially by the rich nations?
Well, uh, there is such a thing as the Just Transition Work Plan, and negotiations have been going on last week, and they will proceed next week. The interesting thing is that there are two proposals. One is by the G77 and China on a mechanism for just transition, and the European Union had a counter proposal on an action plan. And in the action plan, the idea is to have the transition inside the UNFCCC process and also outside. And countries will try to bridge these proposals. That's the idea, that they will negotiate if there is a possibility to merge them or to find a bridge. And I think that would be a good idea because just transition is important for everybody. But of course, the countries are very different and they have different possibilities. And there is always the restriction of funding, of money. So you will see at these climate COPs that all negotiations, at a certain point, they will always mention climate finance. Because without finance, many countries cannot embark a just transition. For example, many countries in Africa are reliant on fossil fuels for their development. Only 2% of global investment in renewable energy is being done in Africa. So to help countries to embark in a just transition process, a lot of money and investment is necessary.
Looking at what we have lived for the first week, what is the point? Where are we? You see a willingness to embark in this narrative of, okay, we understand our historical duties, so we are trying to do. Wow. What do you say from what you have seen?
Well, to be honest, I am myself from a rich country. But up till now, all the rich countries have refused to accept any historical responsibility. So this fight it's a global fight, and it's very imperative that the populations of the rich countries understand what is at stake, because the amount of public money that is needed will have to come from those countries. And as you know, that in many of the rich countries, there is a lot of polarization going on, and we have difficult geopolitics with growing militarism. So expenditure goes to the military instead of to climate finance. When you really think about all these things, it's mind-boggling because it encompasses the whole world, what's happening here. Therefore, it's a very broad process that goes way too slow, but we have no alternative.
Mm-hmm.
These climate COPs are really the only platform we have to discuss these issues all together. Therefore, it's really important to maintain this multilateral platform in spite of the fact that the developments go too slow.
So a final question for you. Churches, they might not know what to do. So what they can practically do to help in this process?
That's, of course, a very interesting question. And I think there's more than one answer to that. First of all, the World Council of Churches is a global umbrella organization, so to say. So churches from the south can have direct contact with churches in the north. And that has been happening for years already. But for the churches in the north, I'll just say the global north, including my own country, the questions asked are difficult for the people to understand. So I think that a dialogue between the churches of the South and the North should be enhanced so that people learn how to understand each other. And then some churches or church leaders will engage with politics, others perhaps not so much. But we have, of course, the common gospel. So the preservation of creation, we have all the churches in the world, and of course other religions as well. Many possibilities we have to act, to pray, to become aware, and first and foremost to listen to each other. For people in my country, it is difficult to understand what is happening in countries in Africa or Asia or other parts of the world. And at the same time, I have noticed in the course of the years that I have been doing this work that for people from the South, it is difficult to understand that the churches in rich countries are not so influential anymore as they were 50 or 60 years ago. What is most important, I think, we have to learn to listen to each other, try to understand each other's position, and just move forward together.